Coaster Daddy coming back at you today with a review of Steel Vengeance. Of course, everybody knows the story behind this coaster. It doesn't need much of an introduction. It is the RMC iBox track conversion of Mean Streak, which opened in May of 2018. This ride is absolutely massive. It's over 5,700 feet long, height of 205 feet, a drop of 200 feet, speed of 74 miles per hour, has 4 inversions, a 90-degree drop, and the ride duration is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, for this coaster, um, RMC Mean Streak was something that enthusiasts had talked about for several years prior to it officially being announced. And then in 2016, Cedar Point officially announced the closure of Mean Streak, which of course got everybody talking. And then shortly after Mean Streak closed, um, everybody seen the iBox track arrive and then started to be assembled onto the old Mean Streak. And then finally in August of 2017, an official announcement was made for Steel Vengeance. So just a little bit of the backstory there. But of course, this is the tallest, fastest, and longest hybrid coaster in the world at 205 feet, the first hyper hybrid. Um, and obviously, I'm sure everybody knows it has more airtime than any other coaster on the planet, which is insane. It has like 27 seconds of airtime, which is just unbelievable. Now, it's not the strongest airtime in the world, definitely, but as far as the amount of airtime, yeah, it has the most. But anyway, we're gonna do a little breakdown of the ride here. The ride starts off by going out of the station, make a little turn to the right here. Of course, it has the signature RMC pre-lift section and a couple little bunny hills. You get it's been debated a bit. I mean, when I rode it, I felt like you maybe got a small pop of airtime there, but nothing too major. This lift hill is notorious for being so loud. It is such a loud lift hill. Now, while we're going up here, talk about the station. The station from Mean Streak was left basically unchanged for Steel Vengeance. I wish they had done a little bit more with the station to spruce it up a little bit, but it was pretty much exactly the same. We get to the top here, go down the massive 90-degree drop up into this little pop of airtime, go into the first part of this top hat element. It's pretty fun. You get a little bit of airtime there. Then we go into my absolute favorite part of the ride. This is insane. You get some ridiculous ejector airtime going all the way down that hill. Do a double up into the first 0G roll, the first inversion of the ride. It's absolutely amazing. You got this little wave turn here. Then you go into this 0G stall, another phenomenal inversion. Go into a double out and then go up into the brake run. And then some people say this is the best part of the ride. I have to disagree, but you go on down this great drop here. The brake run doesn't really kill your momentum much. Go into a couple hills there, which are all right. Then you dip down into the structure, and this is where it starts to get really nuts. There's a little turn there. You go into the third inversion, 0G roll, little airtime hill, a couple airtime hills there actually. Then the sideways airtime moment, that's unbelievable. The fourth and final inversion there, some more airtime. Of course, you got this incredible finale, which is just these tiny little airtime bumps at the end. There's like 6 in a row. It's absolutely incredible. Now, this ride, it just goes on and on. It is such a long ride. And when you are flying through that structure, it's like you have no idea what's going on. I remember I only got to ride this once, unfortunately. The day I went, it was extremely busy. But I was blown away going into that first inversion. It was like unlike anything I've ever felt before. You just get whipped into these inversions and you don't even have any time to think about what's going on. And I mean, it's just so butter smooth too. Like there is no roughness whatsoever, no bumpiness. It's glossy smooth. and you're just whipped into these inversions before you even know what's going on. Then you're out of them, and it really is. I mean, I know everybody's preached this a million times. Steel Vengeance is unlike anything else I've ever ridden. Um, it is a little bit of a spoiler here. It's definitely my number one coaster. I haven't ridden that many coasters as of yet, which that'll hopefully be changing next year. But out of the little over 50 coasters I've ridden, this is absolutely my favorite, hands down. Um, the airtime, like I mentioned earlier, this ride, quantity-wise, it has the most airtime out of any coaster on the planet. And although it has a ton of airtime, it is not the strongest, like I said. I mean, I've ridden coasters that have more intense airtime. I mean, there's a couple pretty intense ejector moments on this ride, especially that outward bank turn. I mean, that was, like I said, hands down my favorite part of the ride. So there is some intense airtime, but the airtime mostly is floater, but it's very good nonetheless. In my opinion, a ride doesn't have to have good theming to go along with it. I mean, sometimes it is nice to have good theming for rides and whatnot, but I mostly look at the ride experience itself. Steel Vengeance has some theming and a backstory to go along with it. It has this trailer. The whole trailer kind of explains the concept a little bit, which I don't care a whole lot about all that. In the queue line, there's like signs for all these different characters surrounding Steel Vengeance and the story of how it came to be. It's all right. It's not great theming. I mean, you know, they tried. And now, one thing that's awesome, that sign out front, outside of the entrance, when you walk up to Steel Vengeance, it looks absolutely phenomenal. It has the rock work, and the sign is chained down to it, and it just looks great. And then you've got that menacing hybrid structure. I mean, it is absolutely massive. It's a huge ride, and it honestly looks taller than it actually is. It's 205 feet tall, which is the same height as Magnum. When you look at Magnum, it's like it's huge, but it looks like it's 200 feet. Now, Steel Vengeance it looks absolutely massive. It looks taller than Magnum, in my opinion, especially when you're standing right under it in the queue line. It's amazing just watching it, and it really gets you pumped up to ride it. But it almost looks like a Giga coaster just staring up at this massive hill. It is unbelievable. And for a final score, I really don't have any choice but to give Steel Vengeance a perfect 10 out of 10. It is absolutely an amazing ride. All the hype you hear about it is definitely very founded. It is just in my eyes, it's a one of a kind experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. So if you're thinking about it, absolutely make that trek out to Cedar Point and get on Steel Vengeance as soon as you can. This is Coaster Daddy. Thanks for watching. See you, everybody.